playing most of the part, maybe apart from obviously drums, which we were either sequencing or using Lin drum computer. Most of the parts were played, mostly by Joe Callis or myself, Philip and Adrian playing some parts. And also, because we couldn't sequence them like you would now on Cubase or Pro Tools or something, and you could layer them up, you've then got to think about how you take that out on the road. And we were using multi-track tape machines, and Joe would do a song with maybe half a dozen different keyboard parts on he played. And then when we went on stage, there was only me and Joe as keyboard. I mean, we got 10 fingers and 4 hands between us, but there was just too many parts. So we had, we had other keyboard players to come in and augment it for us. I think the very first thing we did, we didn't have the Lin drum, so we had this Roland System 100 to do percussion, and so that was doing, emulating sort of bass drum and snare. And I was working with Philip Oakey on something and fiddling with a white noise generator on it to get this hiss sound like that, doing 8 beats. And he asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm trying to create like a hi-hat sound. And he had no idea what I was talking about. He'd never heard of a hi-hat. So actually, if you listen to Human League records before that, there's no element in there that's like a hi-hat. But that System 100 was, essentially putting down a rhythm track, and then it would build that from that way, from the bottom drums and bass up, then through melodies and chords up to the vocals. So that was pretty much the way most things were done. Drums first, then add a bass, get the rhythm going and add some bass to it. And the favoured machine was the Korg 770, which is, I think this is Korg 770, is it not? The 700, it's close enough. So that, I think on the Dare albums, the first one I worked on was, I think most of the bass parts on that album were done with the Korg 770. Because you could do some quite punchy sounds, and there's a song like Seconds, which is where the bass is almost a single note drone, changing notes all the way through, and so it's much more sustained sound. And I think with things like that, we would very often do a couple of passes, so record it twice onto tape to fatten it up a bit more. I suppose these days you would just do that automatically, probably add a few milliseconds delay to the original and fatten it up. But yes, and then once we got to the studio, we got this Lin drum computer which had real drum samples on it, and it was much easier to program rather than only having 16 note sequence like you had on the Roland systems. You could create bars and then string those all together and do bars with different beats and bars with drum fills added in. It seemed a much more effective and easier way to be working. So yes, that's how the Lin came in, and that would be the starting point for every recording. Put down a synchronization track, basic drum beat on the Lin, then add bass, add chords and all the other bits, and then go back and rethink the programmed drums according to what was going on in the track, and add drum fills and cymbals and stuff like that. That would usually be pretty much the last part of the process, that last end of production, tarting things up. No, it was never done that way around. I mean, when I'm doing stuff myself, I tend to start with chords and vocals and write a song, and then go back and add everything. But the Human League way of doing everything, which I suppose is essentially Philip Oakey's way of doing things, is to start with drums, then bass, and then build it up, and then go away and think about something to sing over the top. So, it's one way of working, you know. Well, I suppose traditional songwriters tended to work completely the other way around. But, no, it was just, that was the equipment that was there. There was we had a little studio in Sheffield, and when I was asked to help out with the next album, I just used what equipment was already there. So there was this Roland System 100, the Korg 770, there was a Yamaha, which I can't remember which one it was, and there was a Roland Jupiter 4. So there's just the 4 machines, and that's pretty much, like I said with the Dare album, it's pretty much those 4 machines, but then we added the Linn drum. We added that, which gave a bit more oomph to the rhythm section, and our producer Martin Rushent had the Roland System 700. So when you hear stuff that is sequenced rather than played, that tended to have been done on the Roland 700 system, programmed with Roland MC8, I think it was, sequencer. The thing was, with that sort of technology, the MC8, and there was one called an MC4, but you had to actually enter every piece of information. So you think even the simplest one single note, you've got 3 values. There's where it occurs, how long it is, and what value it is in pitch. So for every note, you've got to add 3 numerical parameters for it, for every single note. So then when you get into, and Martin, our producer, on one track did this amazing brass section, which was a typical brass section. Of course, it was 3 parts, as you would have with a brass section, 2 trumpets and a saxophone or whatever. And he programmed all 3 parts, and not just notes where they occurred, how long they were, but he actually put in dynamic elements as well. So that's all numerical entries to sort of have the pitch alter, so that the brass is swelling, and to have slight bends in the notes and stuff. Every little bit of it was a numerical entry. Yeah, it took forever. I think the brass section part took about 4 days to do. Whereas of course now you've got 3 fingers for one for each of the 3 elements of the brass section, and you could just play it, and then on the screen just do that swell and change the pitch a bit, and etc. And it would take me about 15-20 minutes, I would think, in order to be happy with it. But yeah, compared to 4 days, yeah. I would say so, yeah. I think on the album it lists the equipment used, and it's 5 or 6 synthesizers, maybe 7, I don't know. But I think in terms of Korg, certainly that 770 was fundamental, because that was holding the bottom end down and doing. I used to use it for a lot of riffy type things as well. The first thing I ever did with the Human League, Sound of the Crowd, it was 770 was the bass part, and the sort of lead riff that went all the way through was also done on that, and it was a very, very punchy, powerful sound. And it was a hit record.
Yeah.
Which helps. It's quite good actually when the first thing you do with a band is their first top 20 hit. Quite odd really, going into your local record shop and there's someone in there in front of you and buying your record. It's